Hi everyone, welcome to the Hair Loss Helper. My name is Dr. Lynn White, but you can call me Lynn. And I imagine that you're tuning into this channel either because you or somebody you love is suffering from hair loss. Well, I empathize. As you can tell, I don't have much, myself. But I also imagine that the first question you have is whether or not I will be able to help you regrow your hair. And the answer to that is it depends. It depends on the reason for your hair loss. If the reason has more to do with stress, maybe not eating a balanced diet, maybe it's negative emotions, anything along those areas, well, I can't promise that I can help you regrow your hair. What I can do, however, is help support you in your journey, all right? I've been through a journey of my own, and I have had many years of experience, over 20 years of experience, teaching health psychology, stress and pain, brain and behavior, statistics and research design, which you're probably not interested in, but all those other topics, along with my own research experiences, have led me to believe that I can really help you, all right, in some way. Now, again, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a clinical psychologist. So if you have significant concerns in those areas, then you should consult a physician or you should consult a clinical psychologist. I'm here to support you. I'm here to share experiences and knowledge so that you will have a better toolbox, a bigger, better toolbox for coping with stress, getting rid of negative emotions, feeling better about yourself, and having fun with your hair loss. I know that doesn't sound like, what? Having fun with hair loss doesn't sound like it would be much fun, but hopefully I can get you to that point, all right? Plus I have fun stories to share. So let me start by telling you a little bit about my hair loss journey. It began in my 20s. Now, this is a picture of me before my hair loss. This was when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And as you can see, I had a full head of hair. In fact, I had ample hair, so much so that when I woke up every morning, my parents would call me Lulu because I had Lulu hair and the nickname stuck, all right? Okay, now I really did not have any inclination that I was experiencing hair loss until a few years later when one of my best friends was getting married and we were at a hair salon getting her hair done, and another friend was with us. And after I had my hair washed, he looked over at me and said, "Lynn, what happened to all your hair?" And I'm like, "What do you mean what happened to my hair?" And I looked in the mirror and it looked a little sparse, but I mean, it was wet. And I said, "Oh, it's nothing, all right? My hair's still there when it dries." All right, so that was kind of my first inclination that something might be wrong. Then fast forward 2 years later, early 30s, I had my first child and we were getting ready to build a house. And I met with the builder and I asked him, "What can you do with the drains so they don't get clogged with hair all the time? Can you make them bigger, wider?" And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, that's so nice. You're so considerate of your husband and everything." And I looked at him and I'm like, "No, it's for me. I have hair loss and I keep clogging the drains." Of course, I was concerned about my husband as well, but I mean, that was my primary motivation. And let's see, after that, I began to notice that not only was I losing hair on my head, but I was also losing hair everywhere else. And I since have come to learn that I have what's called alopecia universalis, which means I'm losing hair everywhere, everywhere. Now I don't mind, I have already lost all my body hair, and I'm okay with that, right? It's not a big deal. In fact, it's kind of nice, not ever having to shave. Now, ideally, yeah, I would have preferred that I kept my full head of hair. It is disappearing on a continual basis. Every week, there's a little bit less, all right? Not my first choice, but certainly I've come to terms with it. Now, it wasn't always that way. I can remember, let's see, being in Reno. I was with my students and we were at a conference, and here's a picture, right? Now, what was going on is I was just pretending to gamble. But regardless, later I looked at the picture and I realized you can see my ear through my hair. And I think it was at that point, or very soon after that, that I started to wear wigs. Well, I have some wig stories for you. One, we all know if you've tried a wig on, not very comfortable. Doesn't matter what they say, these things are not comfortable. But I think you'll agree too, if you've ever worn a wig, one of your worst fears is having that wig either shift around, fly off in the wind, something like that, right? Well, that's what happened to me, all right? In Spain, with my students, we were on a study abroad, learning about health psychology and other cultures, and we were in Madrid. And there was a big town square, and there were street performers that were dancing and doing all sorts of acrobatic stunts and stuff like that. And they were really charismatic. See this guy? Very charismatic. Well, our eyes met, and next thing I know, he grabbed my hand, yanked me out of the crowd, and started dancing with me. But not only was he dancing with me, he was putting his hands on my face and head. He put his hat on mine. His hat on my head. Here's a picture, all right? So guess what happened? Yes, my wig moved. Now it didn't come off, and I don't know that he ever noticed, but I noticed. And it made it a little more difficult to enjoy the rest of the performance because I kept thinking about, is my wig gonna fall off now that it shifted position? At the end of the trip in Spain, we were getting ready to leave, and we were either putting suitcases in the trunk of a taxi or we were taking them out, I don't remember. But the student beside me, she put her hand on my head, thinking that she was going to protect me from the lid of the trunk, right? And she not only just put her hand there, but she moved my head. Only my head stayed here and my wig went there. So I think she was more horrified than I was. It took a little bit of time to get over that because I felt very embarrassed. And I think one more wig story. This is what ended wigs for me once and for all. I was practicing a kata in karate at the dojo. I did karate for I don't know how many years, 8 years. Got as far as a blue belt in Kempo before my hip gave out. Anyways, here's the thing. I was doing this kata, which is putting different karate moves into a choreographed sequence, usually to music and everything. I was doing really well. At one point in the kata, I had to do a forward somersault, which I did. I went forward, my wig went that way, all right? Now, I think for a split second, I was going into this panic mode again, right? But because I was so regimented with the karate routine, I decided I'm just gonna keep going. And I did. And at the end of the kata, I walked over, found my wig, brushed it off, put it back on my head, and I looked around and said, Lynn's back. And it just lightened the whole mood and everything. Everybody initially, I'm sure, was going, oh no, because most of them I don't think knew that I wore a wig. But we all got through that, safe and sound. I don't remember how I scored on the kata. Must have been pretty high. All right, so that was the end of wigs for me. I decided that trying to cover up this hair loss was not worth it. Certainly not worth wearing wigs. Now, I did try other things, like I had these long scarves that I would wrap around my head. See this picture here, right, with my aunt and uncle. And those were okay. I still wear them from time to time, not to cover up my hair loss, just to look more flamboyant, I guess. I'm a bit of a ham. Maybe it would, it's just like putting barrettes in your hair or flowers or something like that, all right? Okay, so that describes my hair loss journey. I do want to show you how significant it is with the hair that I have left here, just because it's going to help you understand the post for next week. All right, so as you can see, not much hair. If I tried to put it back in a ponytail, you would see this, not very much, right? In fact, no elastic will stay in. Even baby hair berets or barrettes or whatever, they don't stay in. I just don't have enough hair. Depending on which way the wind is blowing, you're either seeing these bald spots here, or maybe you're seeing these bald spots here. I mean, whatever, okay? So, and again, I've already said I've lost all other hair on my body. This is what I have left, and my eyebrows, my eyelashes have started to fall out, so there's not too much left in, with the eyelashes either. All right. Now, before I talk about next week's post, it's important that I share something with you that will help you move towards self improvement in terms of self-esteem if that's low, in terms of moving towards more positive emotions if that's what needs tweaking, etc. There's a concept in psychology called locus of control, and it refers to the extent that you believe that when things happen to you, they are the result of your own efforts. It refers to the extent that you believe that your thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors are the result of you and what you think. You are in control. Now, that's true if you have an internal locus of control, all right? You are in charge of your own life. On the other end of the continuum, however, is the external locus of control. And here, if you have an external locus of control, it means that you don't feel like you are in the driver's seat of your own car, all right? You believe that your thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors, things that happen to you, good or bad, are the result of either other people or luck, chance, fate, destiny, anything and everything except for you. Now, obviously, that's not entirely helpful or healthy if you're trying to use the strengths within you to move towards self-improvement, all right? And so, generally speaking, people who lean towards an internal locus of control, these are the people who are going to say, you know what, I can do this, all right? That's called having self-efficacy, good self-efficacy, believing you can do something. Now, you don't want to be too far on the internal side. If you're too far, then anything and everything that happens to you or around you is because of you, your fault, all right, or your actions. That earthquake must have been me, all right? So clearly, you don't want to be too far at the end of this end of the continuum. Generally speaking, an extreme in either direction is never a good thing, but you do want to lean towards internal, all right? Now, how are you going to know which way you lean? Well, you probably have a good idea based on the description I've given you, right? But if you look down at the bottom of the video, I'm going to hyperlink you to an external website where you can take a questionnaire. It's confidential, well, anonymous, in fact. You don't have to answer any questions about your name or anything like that. But you can take that questionnaire, and some of the questions, I gotta say, are going to be difficult to answer. It's kind of like, oh, I don't really agree with A or B, but you have to pick one, all right? And then in the end, it'll give you a score. Plus, they give you lots of information about internal versus external locus of control, all right? Now, if you're more external, don't worry, you can change, right? I'm going to teach you how you can use your own strengths to improve and move towards self-acceptance and having fun with hair loss, all right? And who knows, maybe you will regrow some of your hair. Attitudinal changes can have a tremendous effect. I just can't promise, all right? Now, next week, I'm going to undergo a transformation. Now, I won't tell you what that is because gotta have you tune in, right? But I promise it will be entertaining. So please tune in for that. Plus, we're going to talk about the mind-body connection. Every post, I'm going to throw in something new, okay? So tune in for that. Please hit subscribe. I would love to have you on this journey with me. Hit the like button, tell your friends. It's not just for people with hair loss. Some of the messages I'm going to tell you are going to be helpful for anyone and everyone, male, female, young, old. Have them tune in. Plus, they'll be entertained next week. All right? That's it. I'll see you soon.